Today's show is How to Write a Book, What Not to Do. It is sponsored by Mental Health Awareness Month. Yes, a month has sponsored the show. If you need help, dial 988 Veterans Press 1. I'm excited today because today I'm going to be with none other than one of my favorite people on the planet, Miss Lisa Ducharme, the founder of Take-Action University, the 15-minute results coach, and the founder, yes, the founding member of the Talk to Me publishing empire. I'm so excited on this Face It Friday to have Lisa here with me. So we're going to bring her up to the stage. Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
Hey, Brenda, I am so excited to be here today because it is not only Friday, you're on vacation, I'm on vacation, we are just relaxing, but I am a founding member of your Talk to Me Publishing.
That's right. And for those of you listeners, if you've ever thought about writing a book, the reason we're doing this today is because even though I'm on vacation, I have people asking me questions all the time about writing their book and what they can do to avoid some of the pitfalls that I myself found myself in after I wrote my first book and then the subsequent books. But the reason I wanted Lisa on here is because Lisa is one of the people. Now, I've coached several people and I'm still coaching even more. And new clients are coming in every day, which is an exciting thing for me. However, Lisa took the ball and didn't run with it. She threw it out the park, okay? Because Lisa has written, listen to this, you guys, 16 books. She has officially published 8 of them. She is a best-selling Amazon author. She has 3, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, 3 currently at the editors.
Yep.
And 5 additional in processing. This is from a woman that did not want to write a book. And I had to basically go, Lisa, you got this. Come on, please do this. And before I knew it, she was off to the races writing journals and actual books. And I'm excited to have her here with me today to have this conversation. But before we start the actual conversation, Lisa, could you tell them about how you started your process to becoming a #1 best-selling author?
Okay, so first I did not start a process to become one. It was thanks to you that we are one. But it's interesting because I actually started writing a book several years ago about the lessons that people learned in the military, because for 10 years I was doing outreach for veterans. And I always felt the need to remind them of the lessons and the skills that they learned in the military and how they fit not just in entrepreneurship, but also how they fit in communities, at school, at work, etc. And so I started writing that, and it was so painful. It was 2 years in the works before I even met you. And that's been 2 years ago. So 4 years ago, it actually started. And it just took forever. But then you and I started to talk, and you were like, well, let's write this book, because we kept saying, oh, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I think it went through like 15 different titles, if I remember correctly.
It went through a lot of titles.
And it was one of those things where working with you, it was like, okay, we can do this. These are the lessons that we learned. We adjusted them to make sure that they actually were lessons that were easy and simple and anybody can do. And so that was the process. And when I started to work with you and we got it published, I was like, oh my gosh, that was not as painful as I thought.
No, it's not.
It wasn't as bad as I thought. And we published it, became #1, and then became best-selling authors on Amazon. And then it was like, well, that wasn't as hard as I thought. No. But I also realized that I needed to push that Duty to Destiny book through, because it had been hanging out there for so long. And finally, after we got that one, I was like, well, it's not as scary as I thought it was. It wasn't as painful as I thought it was.
I think I have an image. I don't have one by itself, but I'm going to show it up here. This is Lisa's latest book, From Duty to Destiny, a guide to essential A to Z of lessons we learned in the military. And I'm so excited for that book that you completed, because that was your passion project book.
It was. And it is clearly a passion project book. It was written so that I could personally hand it out to people. There are people who go out and buy it, but it was more designed at the time that I wrote it, just as I didn't expect anybody to buy it. I didn't expect to go out and sell it. And amazingly enough, it sells.
It sells
And
very well. Yes, it does. But we're going to get to that part when we talk about the purpose. But let's start our conversation there with the things that we wanted to do. The number one thing, the number one don't that I want people to get a hold of as we're talking today is don't rush the process. Lisa, I am so tired of all these people saying write a book in 7 days, 90 days, or whatever. And the other day I saw someone write a book in 1 day because of AI. Now, although that is possible, what I want to get across to people is I don't want them to rush the process. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do a thing. It's important that we make sure we put out books that are grammatically correct, that actually have some substance, and that you've actually read. If I tell you the number of books that I see people publish, and I love to support my fellow entrepreneurs, but they do not represent them the way that they think they should. And sometimes your book will be the very first impression someone will have of you. What is your book saying about you? So I want people to understand, don't rush the process. Take the time to read your book, to get your book professionally, and I'll say that again, professionally edited, unless you are good at editing. Now, yes, there's software and stuff out there, and some people are, but I can tell you, I had my book read by 10 different people called beta testers. And got such rave reviews and everything, only to get my book back to still find tons of errors when I went back through it myself, and a whole chapter was missing. Lisa, I wrote a book on soul searching and did not talk about soul searching in the entire book, and nobody caught it. That's the importance of having your book read by yourself and others. And it was almost a print. Thank God I thought, because I'm anal, let me do one more check. And this time when I read it, Lisa, I read it from the point of view that if I was the reader and I didn't know anything about it, and that's when I found the gaps in my book. That's what an editor will do for you. They will close those gaps. What was your experience when I asked you, don't rush the process, Lisa? Just do what you know to do and then seek the editor before we let it release.
Well, and what was important about seeking the editor is the book went through more than one editor.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very frustrating for me because my thought process was I hired an editor, they had really good ratings, but yet they still came back with errors.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember the conversation we had where you kind of laughed and said there's more than one kind of editor.
That's right. It's important there are steps in, what do you call it, vetting editors to make sure they actually know how to do the job. Because nowadays, anybody with the advent of the internet can throw up a shingle and says, I'm an editor. I learned that lesson the hard way myself, Lisa. And now I'm very careful about making sure that people can actually spell, that they, like, for example, I should have had a clue with this one person when they listed themselves as an editor and they spelled editor wrong. Yeah, that should have been a clue. Didn't catch it until after the fact. So now I pay attention to certain things. I have a list of questions that I would ask editors before I let them edit my books or my client's book. But it's important to have that. When we're not rushing the process and we actually do things in a order that allows us to produce a good manuscript. The second don't I want people to do, Lisa, is I don't want them to neglect the purpose. My little illustration here has a little man running toward the purpose. We have to know the purpose of our book. Is it a passion project? Is it a lead magnet? Is it for education or instruction? Is it just your memoir? I shouldn't say just your memoir. Is it just a story you want for your family? Whatever the reason is, and there's thousands of reasons why people write books. But if you're not clear on the purpose of your book and the problem that it solves, you're going to have a lot of words on a page. And we talked about that extensively as I worked with you as your publishing partner. How did you feel about that process, being clear on your purpose?
That was good because that's when I realized when I was doing the Duty to Destiny, not when we were doing the other one, because the other one, we knew what we wanted to do it for. But for Duty to Destiny, it took, even though I knew it was just for me to give away to people, at first I was really thinking this was a need and everybody should have it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was more educational. But people are not looking to find out about their military skills. In fact, sometimes I have to hit people over the head, just hitting Brenda figuratively here, to get them to even think about it. So it's not something that the average person is looking for. And so that was kind of the, Lisa, this is a passion project, and you need to understand that, because you're not doing it to increase sales or to make sales. But I also was doing it because I'm a subject matter expert on veterans and veteran resources, because that's been something that I've been working with for 10 years. Mm-hmm. So understanding the difference, I think, was extremely valuable. And, you know, one of the great things about working with you is you are blatantly honest. Now, granted, you're going to be more blatantly honest with me in a more direct way than you will with the average person. But I like the fact that when you and I work together, you don't hold any punches, but you also know that I don't want you to.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important to do, Lisa, because as you know, both of us are working with entrepreneurs in different areas. And I'm always saying we need to go beyond the book, because like a lot of entrepreneurs, I thought I'm gonna write a book and I'm gonna be rich. See, but there's so much more. You have to go beyond the book. That's why it's important to know the purpose. If it's a passion project, although you will make money, you're not, that's not your only reason for writing the book. So you won't be really upset if you don't become a multimillionaire off your very first book. But if your goal is simply to make money, say, for example, then you got to make sure you're writing a subject that somebody wants to purchase. And oftentimes I'm finding entrepreneurs and new authors do not do the homework that they need to make sure they're writing the book that is following their purpose for the purpose that they need, which takes us right into our next don't, which is, baby, don't forget your research and your marketing. Lisa, I cannot tell you how many of my clients come to me and say, hey, Brenda, I want to write a book. And when I tell them, when I ask them, what research have you done? Research on your title, research on your genre, research on the fonts that need to go in the book, research on who's going to be your book's forward, who are going to be your beta testers. There is so much research that goes into doing a book, which is why they have publishing houses and coaches like myself. But one of the clear things for amateur authors, they scream amateur, amateur, amateur. And while y'all looking, look at the face. I screamed amateur, amateur, amateur with my first book. See, in traditional publishing, you will not see by in front of anybody's name. Check out the books. You're not going to see by Stephen King. You're not going to see forward spelled F-O-W-A-R-D. That's not how you spell forward in a book. You know, you will not find your mom and them's picture unless it's part of the story on the front cover of the book, or a picture of yourself in a depressed mode on the front cover. You'll get a professionally done photo, not something you took off your iPhone. And it won't necessarily be something, no, not the Canva, but you will actually get your book properly, professionally done with professional photos, professional editing, etc. So marketing, researching your book's topic. You're an expert on veteran services and supporting veterans. However, even you, I saw you doing your research on what's the new things that's coming up and coming out. Trying to get authors to understand the importance of researching their subject of interest is so important. And then you add, the reason I put research and marketing together is because they're so intertwined. You have to be able to research what are other people selling their books for in that genre. How do other people's covers look? Because there is actually a color code for covers I had to learn. When I took my training on publishing, there's certain fonts that will just scream. If you put Times New Roman in your book, you just said, I did that in my Word document. Okay. There's so many things that go into making sure a book is professionally and properly received. Not that you can't become a best-selling author with all those mistakes. Hello, I did it. However, once you know better, you should do better. What were some of the things that you thought were of value to you when we got to the research and marketing part when doing your books that you've done so far?
So I think one of the most valuable things in the researching was the titles, how
Mm.
to actually write a title that works. Because for me, Duty Destiny was not the original
No, it
title,
wasn't.
and I also didn't have a subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting to see that, titles should be only so many words and subtitles should be only so many words. And, when they talk about SEOs, that was problematic for me because I thought I don't want SEOs in my titles.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized SEOs are just keywords that people search. And because we use several different things like Answer the Public and we also use the rocket and we used a variety of other things to help us get the title. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was really interesting to me because it's not something that I thought about, because when I find a book, I don't necessarily search it by the title. I search it by what's inside of it. But I found that most people search by
That's by the
titles.
title. And Lisa, when you say that too, that's for those of you that may not know, SEO is search engine optimization. So if you want to be found on Google, on the internet, on anywhere, you need to have the words that people are looking for. One of the things that I discovered after the fact was how important a title is. My first title of my book, and it's going to be redone because I'm doing another edition. And it wasn't until I did the second edition that I even discovered this, which is now why I was so passionate about wanting to help other people so they can avoid the mistakes I made and they can learn from my own mistakes. My title is Soul Searching. Get on board for transformation using the T.A.P.I.N method. Nobody knows what T.A.P.I.N is. There were no power words in that. So people just were not finding my book. And so when it was found, it wasn't what people were looking for based on what was inside. So having to get clear on how important your title and subtitle are, how important the keywords and the power words are in your title so your book can be found. Also, the importance of not naming your book a name another author already has that's selling well so that your book gets pushed to the bottom. So it's important to have all these pieces to the puzzle that are often not just laid out there for the public, which is why I think it's really important that we do our research and understand the marketing of a book, right down to launching your book, having launch teams, having launch parties, announcing to the world that you're writing a book before you ever put a pen to the page, or some of the techniques that I teach my clients so that they can have good sales and become best-selling authors if that's a path they choose to take. And once we've done all of that research, got the proper title, we got good covers, our content is on point, we beta test, we know who's writing our forward. Lisa, I always tell my clients to write, don't forget, I gotta say this, don't forget to write the book you want to read. Now, earlier today, when I was talking to my kiddo, Alex, and I said, Alex, what do you think about that one? Because at first I had it as write the book you want to write. And then we talked about it, which is why we changed it to write the book you want to read. Because as you know, Lisa, I told you, Lisa, what books do you read? Go in there, look at that, because there are 4 different formats for how books are written, no matter what the book is. But there's only 4 professional standard formats that they have there. And I was shocked by that. But when I saw that, it was so clear to me that every book I had on my shelf had that they had that format that I like. I like a book that allows me to not only have words but has pictures in it as well. So those visual, the visual learning books and things like that, I love those kind of books. So when I talk to you about what books you like to read when you're doing your books in the future, use that format. How did that help you?
That was huge. And I kicked myself for not having that conversation before the book was actually completed, because we actually had that conversation after Duty to Destiny was done and published. And because for me, the format I like is the very simple formats of the quote and then whatever however you can use it today is. And that for me made such a difference. In fact, I also then suggested to other people that that's how they should actually look at writing their book based on the books they read. And I
Mhm.
did change, and I did my leadership one based on that format because I love that format. It's easy to read. It's not pages. It's just like generally a paragraph.
Right.
And then it's the next one and the next one. So for me, the books that I actually am willing to hold a book in my hand, not listen to it on the audio,
Mhm.
those are the short paragraphs, the easy to reads. Here's the quote, here's the answer. And those formats are perfect for someone like me, whereas a love story would not be a good format for me. That would be not
Mhm.
anything remotely near what I would write or read.
And see, that's important to know that. So by showing my clients the 4 different formats, I pick which one of these would you most appeal to. I've been able to help them write books that they not only that write well, but that they would be willing to read. Because the reality is, we all have different learning and reading styles, and some people like data, they like charts, they like statistics. That's a book I'm not going to read. So it wouldn't be a book I would write. And there's an audience for all 4 types of books. But if you know what type that you'd read and you write that, you normally will stay in a lane with your, here we go, comes back to this as we go beyond the book. Who is your ideal reader? Same as your ideal client when you're doing your business. So I like to make sure people don't forget, write the book you want to read. That's been very helpful to my clients, helping them to develop manuscripts that they could be proud of. And once they've done that, Lisa, my other don't is, don't forget to invest in yourself. You know, I took a training recently, and when the facilitator put on the board about uh, purchasing coaching and stuff like that, and she used the illustration of, if you uh, paid $3,000 for this course, and your goal was to make $100,000. She made it really simple for us. The difference is $97,000, right? So it wasn't that you were spending $3,000, or if you failed to invest the $3,000 in yourself, what you were saying was you weren't willing to make the 97,000. I was like, what in the world? Because you mean to tell me I could spend $3,000 and get the knowledge from someone that actually knows how to do the work, saving myself time, saving myself actually saving money and frustration, and then be able to win. And if, and I will say win, and if we're going to talk about this a little bit, because now we're going to go in your take action university mindset, that if I would actually apply the information she provided, there would be no reason I could not recoup my money fairly quickly, because she even illustrated how we could do that. But like she said, there were many people in the audience that were not going to recoup their money, let alone invest in themselves, because they weren't willing to take action. What's your thoughts on that, Lisa?
You know, that's true. The reality is, I can sit down and I could have written my book. My Duty to Destiny would have eventually been written, it would have eventually been published.
Mm-hmm.
But having somebody like you who's sitting there, not necessarily, I don't want to say holding me accountable, but more like guiding me. You do hold me
Mm-hmm.
accountable, but you guide me to remind me of why it was important. And you make sure that I take the right steps in the right order. Because, you know, when you and I did the how to save money and time, we did that in a little bit backwards.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And I totally did Duty to Destiny backwards. I mean, that was so
Mm-hmm.
backwards and upside down that by the time that you and I started to work together, specifically helping me make sure that I got it done, that was knowing what to do and what needs to be in the book. Because, you know, I think the hardest thing for me
Mm-hmm.
was what actually needed to be in the book. And
Absolutely.
that I think was where the real value comes from. You can go out and get templates because everybody's
Mm-hmm.
got them. They're free online.
Mm-hmm.
But the templates don't always have exactly what should be in the book depending on what template you get. I mean, there are literally 50 different types of templates out there. And I've pulled a variety of them down in Microsoft Word and in PowerPoint and in Abacus and a whole bunch of other software programs. But it's so much easier if somebody kind of walks you through the process
Mm-hmm.
and makes life easier. I attended a course, or I took a course that oh, I want to say it was several weeks. And it was like, you can walk through this course and you can also get the book done by the time you're done with the course. I still didn't get the book done by the time I was done with the course. I learned some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't take action on it because for me, there was so much going on in life that I think writing a book is one of those things where you really do want somebody who is going to be there to remind you what needs to be done.
And here's the thing, Lisa, there's true. There are tons of 90-day, write a book in 90-day courses, write a book in 7 days, write a book in 1 year courses, etc. You could hire an agent. There are so many options now when it comes to creating and writing the book of your dreams. That's why I took the time to educate myself and learn. Now, I did stuff in the process, but over the past 2 years, I've immersed myself in what was really required. I compared the different PODs, the print on demand companies that would allow me to get the best value for myself and for my clients. I also talked to many literary agents. I took training in how to become a self-publishing publisher. And now I feel very confident. And I've also helped several people become best-selling authors.
Me.
And I'm also training other people how to be publishers. So now I feel like I have everything I need to actually create an environment that allows people to have, like we did with our book, How to Save Time and Money, Amazing Simple Business Tips, to get what I wish I had. I want to be for aspiring authors what I wanted for myself. See, I took 2 years to learn all this, but they can glean from me and join my portal and get this information and actually have access to me, so that there were times, Lisa, as you know, where I needed information, but there was no one to call or to reach out to. I want to be that for those people, which is why I have a discussion board. They can reach out to me, and then we all get to learn from everybody's questions. We're having group meetings, layers of coaching. I'm doing it one-on-one and in groups based on people's budgets. But the key is I want to make sure that they put books out that they can be proud of, that get the message that they want to get. I want to help people take and turn their mess or their mission into a message for the masses. And we're going to do that by making sure they know these 5 things, these 5 don'ts. Don't rush the process. Take the time. Give yourself the time to produce a book you will be proud of. I want you, don't neglect the purpose. Get clear on your why and your what. What's your purpose for writing this book? Why do you want it? And who's your target audience and what problem do you solve? Know your purpose. I want you to don't forget to do your research and your marketing. It's important to make sure that you have a book that is well researched so that you can market it in a way that when it gets out there, people are going to want to buy it and you're going to want to sell it. Don't forget to write the book you want to read. Check out the books that you currently are reading. Which books draw you in the most? Then take that format, not the words, because we don't want no plagiarism here. I want you to take that and format a book that you'd want to read. And then, of course, don't forget to invest in yourself, because the best way to make sure that you can get a book out there done the way you need it to, get the sales you want and everything, is to invest in yourself with education and training. Find a coach, find a community, take a course. If you feel like you don't need a coach, you can do like some of us did. I took 2 years to learn. I invested a lot of money to learn the things I learned, and I can help you shortcut through that. So you can invest in yourself by going to BrendaTheSolutionist@gmail.com. That's where you can email me, Brenda the Solutionist, SOUL, Solutionist@gmail.com, because you can do it if you want to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. And I know you can try to do it. Then you're going to tell yourself you can do it. Then you will do it so that you can reach success. And I'm excited about all of that. Lisa, I thank you for having this conversation with me. But as always, at the end, we talk about the T.A.P.I.N. And for those of you listening on the replay, if you're an author or an aspiring author, I want you to, number one, go for the T and transform your mindset to know that you can write a book for your passion project, for your lead magnet. If you're an inspirational writer, whatever it is you choose to do, you can do it. Then I want you to announce to the world that, hey, I'm writing a book, and get some accountability in the form of a coach, a community, a frenemy. Just get yourself some accountability so you can get that book written. Then I want you to prepare. I want you to prepare by doing your research. Make sure you understand your subject. There's nothing worse than having somebody write on something they know nothing about. Please know, I've seen it. I've attempted to read it. It's not pretty, y'all. So prepare for your subject. Then I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine what sense of accomplishment you're going to have and how you're going to feel when your book comes out and your name's out there and you are a published author. And if you're really, really done your work, you're a best-selling published author. I can tell you there's no feeling like it. What do you say about that, Lisa? It's an amazing feeling.
I will tell you, it is the most amazing feeling you can have. But I also want to remind people that if you are a business owner, so I am not somebody you would ever expect to write a book. Not by any stretch of the imagination. My reading comprehension when I was in the Air Force was less than third grade. And I'm not kidding when I say that. And I didn't know what a noun was until my kids went to school. So that tells you why I don't read. So to write a book is something that was far out of my mind. So anybody can write a book if I can write one. But as a business owner, if you want to show that you are a subject matter expert and use it as a lead magnet, a book can be as small as 11 pages or as big as 500, whatever it is you want it to be. But I think if you are thinking about and you're a subject matter expert and want to show it, writing a book is a great way to do it.
And Lisa, here's the best part for those of you that are, when you imagine, oh, Brenda, I can't even imagine it because, like Lisa, I don't want to write or I don't even read. No problem. We have ghostwriters. We have AI, artificial intelligence. We have options for even the people that don't want to write. And for those who say, but Brenda, I don't type. I don't care. Can you speak? If you can speak, you can use Google Docs and dictate it right into there and it goes on. You don't even have to pay the transcription fees. That's the kind of stuff you find out when you come into the Solutionist portal, because I have solutions that are going to help you do what you want to do. And then the final letter in the T.A.P.I.N process is in. You're going to nurture all that stuff that you have, because I want you to come from a place of gratitude for all the things that you're going to learn. And here's the thing. If you have a story in you, how dare you take it to the grave and don't help those that came up behind you that need to know that they too can have the victory. They too can have the success. They too can write a book. I hope that you enjoyed what we shared with you today. I want to thank you, Lisa, for trusting me with your stories, for being the founding member of the Talk to Me Publishing Empire. And I'm looking forward to all the rest of you that want to be part of the Talk to Me Publishing Empire. And if you do not forget, just email me at Brenda, BRENDA, the THE Solutionist, SOULUTIONIST @gmail.com. And that's another thing, Lisa, just simple things like that. When I'm first starting out, Jen Gottlieb tell us to start before we're ready. I've just been using my Gmail account. I'm so excited to say my professional email will go online next week. So please do not be, you can say, I don't have this, I don't have that. Start where you are. If you have a pen and a pad, you have an iPhone or Samsung, whatever you have, all you have to do is start. It is Face It Friday, and face it, it's time to get the word out that you have a story to tell, and I'm here to help you tell it. Be blessed, everyone. Have an absolutely amazing day and enjoy your weekend. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Brenda.